Hello and welcome back to Literally Heinous. We have a super special guest on tonight, bringing us to the fourth season of Literally Heinous. And yes, a new season is every time I want to take a break from podcasting and don't want to address it. So our new guest today is actually my boyfriend's boyfriend. His name is Carmine Finelli, and you may know him as the father of Johnny Drip Drip, which is my boyfriend's game that he plays with his friends that has turned into an empire. We have the godfather himself, Carmine Finelli. Welcome to Literally Heinous.
Thanks for having me, Lily.
Thank you so much for joining. So, I know anyone that knows me and knows Jack knows that Johnny Drip Drip has turned into a huge point of his life. It started as sort of like a camping trip with guys and playing this game that you made up. And 6 years later has really evolved into, I used to call it Camp Carmine because that's what it was to me. He would go away on this like mysterious trip. I wouldn't hear from him for 4 days, come back bloody, bruised. And I was like, what is going on at Camp Carmine? But it's really turned into kind of a big deal. You guys have almost 600 followers on Instagram. Your first video just got licensed. So tell us a little bit. Well, first we want to know about you. I know Carmine is a jack of all trades. He studied chemical engineering at the University of Michigan, and he works as a chemical engineer. He's a dog dad, he's a husband, and the founder of Johnny Drip Drip. So, Carmine, just tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you got to where you are.
Well, that's a really awesome intro. So I'm from Heartland, Michigan, which is where I met Jack and a lot of the other people that make up Johnny Drip Drip. And yeah, so I don't know, humble beginnings, a small town. It's a classic way a creator of a game comes to be. Went to school at U of M, like you mentioned, and a lot of the people that are key factors of the game I met, throughout my life. And I've always been somebody who loves to make anything into a game. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind sitting around the couch and watching TV with my friends, but I kind of just get bored of that. So I've always been like, how can I turn this into a game?
That is amazing. So, if you could just explain what this game is and how it works.
Yeah, so a lot of people see the game being played and think that it's pretty complicated. And while it looks different than like any other sport, because inherently it is, it's actually not all that complicated. And while I do like to differentiate it from water baseball, the easiest way to explain it is by using baseball as an analogy. So when you play baseball, you're going to hit a ball and try to round the bases till you get to the home plate. In Johnny Drip Drip, you're going to hit a ball, dive into the lake, and try to climb on top of the floating raft while somebody tries to keep you off. So that's like the basic what the game is. And instead of it going in like a cycle where you're going around bases, you can stop at a base or go straight to the raft. And that inherently is the sport. It's like baseball where there's like a team on offense and a team on defense. So it's not like everybody's doing the same thing. You're either on offense or defense. And we have 4 innings like baseball has 9.
Okay, perfect. So there's a pitcher and there's a batter. So the batter will swing the wiffle ball bat and then has the choice to either go to a half base or to take the risk and go to the floating dock.
Correct.
Okay, so when the batter hits the ball, there's someone on the defense team that swims to go get wherever that ball lands.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and we call those, we're just trying to add our own terminology to the sport, but this year we like to call the people swimming in the outfield the deep sea drippers. So the deep sea drippers try to recover the ball in like left or center lake or wherever it ends up. And then the most important defensive position is the sentinel, and that's the one person who's allowed to like make contact. They're on top of the floating dock, the raft, and they can prevent people from climbing on. So like you mentioned earlier, you can try to go straight onto the raft, but if it's just like one person climbing up, it's very unlikely that you'll be able to overpower the person with the high ground, essentially. So that's why it's like, okay, I'm going to go to the half base and then wait for somebody else, and then we'll try to attack him together.
So could there theoretically be a time where someone was on a half base and then their teammate goes up to bat, so then there's two people competing together on the swimming dock?
Correct. And so there's 2 half bases and the raft. So you can hypothetically have, and this is actually like the most viable strategy in Johnny Drip Drip 2025, is you get one person on one of the half bases, and then you get somebody on the other half base, and then all 3 people try to take down the raft.
So you have 3 people competing with the sentinel fighting 3 people at the same time.
Exactly. And then, not to get too convoluted into all the rules, but when that happens and when there's a person on each half base and they're all going for the floating dock at the same time, that's when the deletion comes into effect. So usually you have to tag somebody with the ball to get them out. But in that case, if the defense takes the ball and the sentinel, the guy on top of the floating dock, presses it to the dock, then the two people that are coming towards it from the half bases are immediately out. So it's kind of balancing the game to where you can't just overpower it every time. The defense gets an advantage if you do have people on both of the half bases.
That makes sense. So the people that swam from half base can get eliminated quicker just by the person holding the ball on the base to
Yes,
even it out because they had an
exactly.
easier way of getting there.
Exactly.
Okay, I think this makes total sense. And I am someone that famously still does not know the rules to football. And I think I can get this. So, where in the world did you come up with this? What is like, how is this your brainchild? And did you just think of it one day or have the rules evolved over time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess just a little background is we play this game at my family's cabin at Rifle Lake, which is in Lupton, Michigan. But I've been going to that cabin ever since I was a kid. It used to be a big family thing, and then kind of as time went on, like less family members would go up there, and I would just go up with friends. But I always loved that raft, that floating dock, because my dad like built it a long time ago, and it's just we've always played some sort of game on it, but it was usually just like King of the Raft, where you know like five guys would get up there and fight and push each other off. And I guess that might be like how I got the idea for the raft being like the point of contention, like where you score.
Yeah.
But so we went up there, I believe it was 2020, and it was the first time going up with just this group of like high school friends kind of coming back together. I lived in Baltimore at the time, and so yeah, we were up there, and we actually, I took mushrooms for the first time, so I was feeling very, I'm always impressed with like the natural beauty of like the lake in rural Michigan, but it just
Yeah.
like was really striking me as like, this is the place to be, and I locked myself in the cabin while everybody else just kind of hung out, and I scribbled down all this stuff on, I think it was the center part of a 30 rack of beer, and it was like I said, I always loved making games, and this kind of like my magnum opus. It was like this is the game to make, and yeah, I don't know like how I came up with like all the individual like components of the game, but I just wanted it to be something that felt unique and involved the lake and the raft.
Yeah. So when was the first time you played Johnny Drip Drip?
So it would have been that year in 2020. And so this is key to the terminology of Johnny Drip Drip because while we've been doing it for 6 years, this past year was year 5 because the first year, the year that we're talking about, we call year 0 because it was more like a prototype for what the game is now.
Yeah.
So the game was created then, but it has evolved a lot. And like you mentioned, the rules have changed over time.
Yeah.
And we've kind of like balanced it, which is to me really cool. It feels like a real sport and like a lot of people treat it like a real sport, and to me it is a real sport. But yeah, so like people have input, like it's too hard to score. How can we make it easier for the offense? And so we added more handles to the raft one year so it's easier to pull yourself up. And then, okay, if it's too easy for the offense, that's how we added the deletion rule where you can like tap the raft and get two people out to kind of balance it the other way. So it's definitely something that has been growing year by year and it's at a pretty steady point right now, but like we're always changing it and trying to improve it.
Yeah, I know that every year after Johnny Drip Drip that you're super diligent about sending feedback forms with like, feedback on the logistics of the weekend or even like rules and gameplay so that the rules of Johnny Drip Drip, it's not necessarily set in stone so that you're still open to feedback if you're finding that it's unfair.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like, not to get into like we'll get more to this stuff later, but like one of my favorite things is just how much input people have on it. And it's cool. It's like crowdsourced. Like everybody
Yeah.
has a hand in it. Yeah.
Yes. So where did you come up with the name Johnny Drip Drip?
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry,
Okay.
the full name is How to Catch a Johnny Drip Drip.
Perfect. So that is the full name. And funnily enough, Johnny Drip Drip is, or I guess was, a WWE wrestler. However, his name is Johnny and then whatever. Like he's changed his name 20 to 30 times. He's been like Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro, Johnny TV, whatever. But at this point in time, his name was Johnny Drip Drip. So for whatever reason, like I've always been a person where I get like a name or a sound in my head and I'm just always saying it. So like Johnny, Tommy, Big Time, I don't know, stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that was like my tick at the time was Johnny. And so then the how to catch a Johnny Drip Drip, I think in my head when I created it, it was like when you're in the water and you're trying to get on the raft, the defense is trying to catch the Johnny Drip Drip. At least that's my interpretation of how I named it anyway. But yeah, so it's a pretty abstract name, but I think it's fun. It has charm and people
Yeah.
seem to like it.
It's honestly a perfect name. Like phonetically, it rolls off the tongue nicely. JDD is a nice acronym.
Yes.
So, what was your original vision and goal? I know that this game kind of came to you, but how does it compare to what it's turned into today?
Yeah, that's great. So I would say originally, like when I made it in what we call year zero, I just wanted it to be something that we can continue to do and was something that kind of stuck. And from the moment that it did, and I knew that it was going to continue happening, I kind of always had pretty like grandiose visions of what it could become. But yeah, like originally it was totally just, I want to keep coming up to this family cabin and I want to have like a thing that we all do. And so I guess that's what the goal was initially, and like it already is that for sure. But yeah, I just could always see it growing into more, and it totally has in front of our eyes, which is just really cool.
Okay. And then before we continue, I just want to hear a little more about the cabin. Like
Yes.
describe, paint the picture of
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
Johnny Drip Drip
So,
takes place.
so it's an old log cabin. It's not like fancy in any way. I mean, the when we're up there, it's kind of just like a glorified tent because you're never really inside it. It's like the
Hmm.
backdrop for the weekend. Like you're sleeping in there. There's snacks in there. There is an old tube TV, but nobody really ever uses it. Like maybe sometimes you pop like Wayne's World on VHS in there or something like that, or you play cards at a table. But it's doesn't really have amenities. The toilet doesn't even work so well. But it's just yeah, it's like an old red log cabin. It like looks really nice, and it has a small little yard. And then yeah, then it goes out to the water, and that's like where all the fun begins.
Yeah.
There's yeah a dock with an L shape at the end, which I think kind of was perfect for the game because the batter is standing out on the end on that L, and that's
Hmm.
their we call it the batter's dock.
Yeah. Cute. So, is there electricity and running water?
There is electricity, there is running water. I would say non-potable running water, and I would say a weak septic field. So
Okay.
we have to get a porta potty. You should not
Hmm.
use the toilet up there very much, and you should not drink the water, brush your teeth with the water. There is a shower, but I don't think it's been used in, I don't know, 5+ years. So yeah, like there's electricity, there's water, but there's also like chipmunks inside and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Totally get it. So, how many guys attend Johnny Drip Drip and what are the sleeping arrangements?
Okay, so starting in the beginning, that first year there was 8 of us. And it has just taken off and grown every year. So this past year, I think the max that we had at one time was 26 or 27 guys. And comfortably, the cabin can sleep 15, and that's being generous. So starting like last year, we implemented what I call Tent Town. So we used to know the neighbor next door, and so last year he just let us set up like a bunch of tents in his yard. So there was 7 or 8 tents, and it was like a secondary cabin
Hmm.
essentially. However, he sold his cabin this past year, so we had to kind of scramble, but I was able to talk to some people up north and find another lot that was like close walking distance, so we still had our tent town. But yeah, so it's like half the people are in a cabin, half the people are in tents, a few people sleep in their cars, but I don't think anybody has a problem with where they're sleeping. Like it's more like it's like the shell. Like you're sleeping and then you're coming out and then you're
Yeah.
having a good time
Yeah.
regardless.
I love that so much. So, can you describe for me some of the roles that people play with Johnny Drip Drip? Like, not sports roles, like
Yeah,
making the weekend happen. Who does what?
totally, totally. So Ian, so our friend Ian, he's like a I don't know how to explain him other than that he seems to know how to do like anything involving technical stuff. So
Mhm.
he's like the main production guy. So he
Yeah.
knows all the stuff about wiring the cameras, wiring the PA system so we can have announcers that talk out to the lake. He handles filming, which this isn't really a secret because nobody knows what I'm doing, but he helps me film for the documentary that I'm going to produce at some point.
I heard about
And
this and I'm so excited for it.
yeah, so that's maybe like a couple years away. But anyway, he like helps with everything there. So he's the production guy. As you know, Jack is our social media guy and our like editor. And he's like awesome at just taking an idea and running with it. And
Jack
he never
has
like
lapped me 45 times in terms of, do you know how embarrassing it is to have like had this podcast for like 3 years and like do comedy and the way that he makes these professional videos? I'm like, what the fuck is it? I'm like, do that for me. Like
right? I
he
know.
is wildly talented. I'm blown away by it.
Me too. Like, but when he wanted to start it, I'm like, yes, that's great. We need a social media presence. Like, we can start to actually like, see what people think about our stuff. And then we have one of our reels has I want to say like it's close to 200,000 views. And it's almost there. And so I don't know. It's just like he puts a lot of work into that stuff. And so yes, like Ian, it helps us get all the data and all the audio and all this stuff. And then Jack puts it into these formats that we can push out to people and like show them what Johnny Drip Drip is like. Yeah. So and then but there's a ton of other people, and I don't need to like go super in depth on everybody, but like Nathan is the chef at Drip Drip, and like so we pay into a slush fund. So everybody pays X amount of money for the year, and they get all their food, all their drinks. So Nathan like goes shopping, grocery shopping for like 2 weeks before, and he has breakfast, lunch slash dinner, and snacks for every single day. 3 kegs, beer, liquor, water, Gatorade, liquid IV. Like he has everything that you would ever need, like from a put in your body standpoint up
Yeah.
there. We have Wyatt makes the trading cards, which are like so awesome. And so we take like official renders every year in front of like a green screen, and so that goes into the trading cards.
Yeah.
And tie dye is a big part of Johnny Drip Drip.
Yeah.
So Alex is our tie-dye guy, so he orders new colors and he helps set it up day of. There's so many people who do stuff for Drip Drip, but like, yeah, that's probably like the big ones. Nate, who wasn't there this past year, he got the drone. So the drone, and he's the number one drone pilot. And like having the drone footage has been awesome for us.
Yeah. So did you guys not have drone footage because he wasn't there?
We actually had more because last year was the first year with the drone, and we only got to try it for a couple games. And so this year, when we knew he wasn't going to be there, because shout out Cooper, the first drip drop of the Johnny Drip Drip community. So he lent the drone to us, and so I taught people how to use the drone, somewhat knowing how to use it myself. But
Yeah.
we had, I think, maybe five or six different people who flew the drone throughout the weekend. So
Yeah.
it was great, and like I was okay at it, but Wyatt, who's the trading card guy, he's just like also really good at everything. And
Yeah.
I've been watching like the shots that he recorded on the drone, and I'm like, wow, this is cinematic. I don't know how we did that. So
Yeah.
this year we're gonna have some really awesome stuff coming out.
I can't wait for all the videos. Yeah, so I remember, I think you guys started getting really serious about it like 2 years ago, maybe. That was when, like, because I knew Jack would go on this trip and I was like, whatever, Camp Carmine. And I was like, oh, it's so cute. Like, they tie dye and like they have
I know.
patches. I'm like, but he comes back really bruised and bloody and sore. And I was like, whatever. And then he comes back one year and he has like all these like trading cards and you guys do like full blown photo shoots, which I just thought was so much fun. And then I was also hoping you could talk about the patches because that is like
Yes,
my
yes.
favorite part of Johnny Drip Drip.
Yes, so I have a patch for you, by the way, because Lily was our wag of the year, but
Thank
I
you.
don't know where it is, but that's okay. Like you'll get
That's
that at
fine.
some point. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so I don't know how it came to be originally, but so the first year that we kind of started tie-dyeing stuff, we got the idea to all get like white bucket hats. So I can show you. My white
Hmm.
bucket hat is right here. So, but we tie-dyed the hats, right? And it kind of turned out pretty darn
Yeah.
nice, and everybody's looks different. But but yeah, so you can see there's some patches on like here's a custom Johnny Drip Drip one and whatever, all these other patches. So I guess probably this that second year, I had the idea. I was like, I love like mock elections, like awards. I've always just enjoyed
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Like if I was a camp counselor or something like that, just being a part of deciding who gets what award for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So because we had those hats, I was like, okay, I think patches will be the thing because we can, put patches on these hats.
Hmm.
So every year I order, I don't know, 200 to 300 random patches from Etsy, Amazon, wherever else I can find. Like at this point, I've probably ordered from 10 different sources,
Yeah.
and I probably have more than 1,000 patches, not gonna lie, but I still get
Yeah.
new ones because like you always get some unique cool ones, and then you get, I would say, like 70% of the patches aren't so great.
Yeah.
So it's like you really got to sift through and find the good ones. So anyway, so I will like before the year, I will like put out all my patches. I'll take a picture and I'll like be staring at that picture every day. I'm like, oh, that turtle could be for the defensive player of the year. That like cheeky little cat with this funny smile could be for the best prankster, or I don't know. I just really try to brainstorm, and then the last day before everybody goes home, we do the patch awards. And I lay out all the patches, and I usually have like 80% of the patches I'm going to hand out like already determined, but a lot of them are just kind of on the fly. Like I'll have like, oh, there's a bunch of fruit, and oh, you ate a bunch of watermelon, so the watermelon goes to you, or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
And what I love about you, Carmine, is that you make sure that everyone gets a patch or multiple. So there's the obvious patches. You guys have MVP, which is the most coveted award. I
Yes.
know Jack was really upset he didn't get MVP the last like 2 years in a row.
Well, I
So,
think Jack's been trying to spread the wealth around, and it's his teammates have won. So I think he's
yeah.
like,
And that's
he's
what he
allowing
always
them to
says.
shine. Yeah.
He's like, no, like it's fine. Like I don't care. Like at least someone on my team won it. I'm like, okay.
He cares a little bit.
When Jack goes to Johnny Drip Drip, I'm just praying the whole weekend. I'm like, please let like either his team win or him get MVP. Like I'm so nervous the entire time. It's like when the Lions are playing. Like I don't care about football at all, but like my relationship depends on like how the Lions perform. So I'm like checking my phone, like refreshing the score.
Like, is he going to be really upset? Do I need to like do some sort of comforting, or like,
I
do I have to go in
know.
another room? Like, what's yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's fine, but he's just in a significantly better mood when the Lions win.
Same
So you've
same
got
here. So
you've
yeah.
got MVP, like defensive man of the year, offensive, but you also do like fun and silly awards. So what are some of your
Yes.
favorite goofy awards that you've done?
So I think 2 years ago we added Prankster of the Week and Freak of the Week, and Michael.
Hmm.
So Michael is our good friend who lives in New York with Lily and Jack, and he's just like a quirky, funny guy, and so
Yeah.
he's always doing weird, freaky stuff. Like I don't know how else to explain it other than he's kind of a freak in the most in the best way. And
Yeah.
so so people will try to one up each other. Like for example, going to the prankster one. So are you familiar with getting iced like Smirnoff
Yeah,
ices?
of course.
Of course. So that became a thing. I mean, it always has been associated with Johnny Drip Drip, but so it's always like who can go get the ices and hide the most of them, and people are always trying to do pranks on each other. I pulled off a pretty good one a few years ago where I think Pat, who's on the 6 Mile Slammers, fell asleep and he had a jersey on, and then I slapped something on the back of his jersey that like was like a play on words on his name. So anyway, there's lots of pranks, and that's the
Yeah.
prankster award. I'm trying to think. So every this is I don't even think about mentioning this, but so every year every player has a walk-up song. So like in baseball, you have a little walk-up song that plays for like 10
Hmm.
seconds before you go to bat, but at Johnny Drip Drip, your walk-up song plays the entire time you're batting. So you get to hear them pretty thoroughly. And so we always do walk up song of the year. And that's always a lot of fun because people are thinking all year, like, what's my drip drip song going to be this year? And I
Yeah.
think like the past 3 years it has won. And Wyatt is also known as Squid, like he always has been. So he always finds like a squid related song. And somehow
Yeah.
he always finds a new and fun one. And so he always takes home that prize.
Yeah. That is amazing. I love the patches. It's so much fun. Whenever Jack comes home from Johnny Drip Drip, we do a mini patch ceremony where he presents to me all the patches that he won. And yeah, I remember when he first brought them home, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Carmine does all of this for you guys." So that was when I knew Johnny Drip Drip was not just a normal boys trip.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is your favorite part? So you plan Johnny Drip Drip all year. Like this is a constant part-time job, I assume.
Yes, yes. We're actually in the process of scheduling a meeting with the whole production team to start thinking about next year. So, yes.
Yes, yeah, you guys meet as it like Jack will regularly have Johnny Drip Drip meetings. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, it's
I know, it's a
January.
lot. And it's funny, like, leading up to it as it gets closer, I feel like every single day I'm like, okay, I need to talk to Jack, I need to talk to Wyatt, I need to talk to Ian, I need to talk to Nathan. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's a lot, but it's also not because so much of it is fun. And
Hmm.
I don't know. It definitely does like take up a lot of time, but it's again, it's time well spent because I
Yeah.
know how much all these people are like looking forward to it all year and like I always like planning events, but like this one specifically, I just feel like it's so heartwarming. Like everybody loves it and
Yeah.
everybody's looking forward to it, so it makes it not hard at all to spend the time on it.
Yeah. What has been the most surprising thing that's come out of it?
I would say I don't know if I would say that it's surprising, but the engagement with the lake, and I guess it is surprising. As you know, like it's played on a lake, a public lake, so there's people driving boats around all the time. So
Hmm.
like starting a few years ago, boats would like slow down and they'd kind of cheer and they'd like honk their horns a little bit. But then, like last year, multiple boats would just stop in the outfield area and be watching us the whole time. And this year, we had times where there was like three boats anchored out there, and even one pontoon boat that pulled up to the dock next door. And the people like got off on the dock and came over and chatted to us. And to me, that's just like it's so cool. And now that we have the social media presence, we get DMs from people that are like, "We were watching you out on a boat," and it's like, "Wow, okay, that's awesome. That's the goal."
Yeah. No, that is so cool. I remember when the first video that went viral, like someone commented like, "Oh my God, it's this Rifle Lake. I've seen you guys before." And that was when I realized like
Yes.
this is like a real thing. Like that's so cool. So have you like connected with any of the people on Rifle Lake? Do you think you would like give them a heads up when JDD is?
Yeah, so we just, as you know, like we just started kind of getting more traction on social media to the point where now there's multiple followers, like you said, that like are on the lake and know we're there. So we somewhat engage with people up there, but I think that as we get more popular, we can just do it even more because what we do is like throughout the weekend. And I should have mentioned earlier people who have roles. Evan is like our lead commentator, and so he did like improv in college and he's a funny, witty guy and
Yeah.
he is just hilarious. He'll be on the mic like explaining the plays really well, but also just so comedic and
Yeah.
he's being broadcasted out to the lake. So whenever a boat comes by, he'll be like, "Thank you so much to our pontoon fans drifting by out on the lake. Just so you know, like this is the semifinal game and the championship game is tonight at 6, so come on back." So we've had like that level of engagement and letting people know. But yes, like next year I really want to have like the people who watched us this past year like be like, "Hey, we're gonna be here this weekend. Make sure you guys come up and like come stop by. Like we'll have food for you." And
Yeah.
I really want to engage with them even more.
Would you ever make so I know there's famously no girls allowed at Johnny Trip Trip. Would you
Well,
ever? It's okay, you could say it. So would you ever consider like really making it a spectator sport and like what if you did have like food and refreshments and really having an audience?
Yeah, so okay, so there's two like different pathways for that. So one is 100% like I the only real problem with the actual physical space is that there isn't much of it. So I would love for there to be like an outfield full of fans, but at this point in time, it kind of has to be somebody who lives on the lake or somebody who has a boat. Because I'm putting it out there now. If anybody has a boat, girls, men, like I don't care who you are, like take your boat, put it in the lake, come on out, drop your anchor, and you can be there all weekend. Like I would love for it to be a spectator sport. And not to go too far into like the most insane parts of my brain, but honestly, even since like year two of Johnny Drip Drip, I've always had like this vision of like a stadium where one of the, not to say it's a problem, but one of the things we're always talking about is it would be nice if there could be like a home run line. With it being in a public lake, you just can't really put a giant rope 100 feet out in the lake. So
Yeah.
in my head, the only way to really do it would be to have like a man-made pond or lake that kind of had just a barrier at one spot, and if the ball went beyond it, then it was a home run. So yeah, I have this vision of like a little
Yeah.
man-made drip drip pond with bleachers on, stands all over and cameras and concessions and yeah. So,
Yeah.
who knows if we'll get there, but I mean, I'll be damned if I'm not going to try to get us there.
Yeah. I fully believe in you. Like you could run for president tomorrow. You could do anything you set your mind to. Like I believe in you so much.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good vote of confidence. Thank you.
So I want to go back to logistics really quickly. And this is something
Yes.
we should have covered before. So there's four teams. And so
Correct.
this is important. And what team you're on is pretty important. Like the team pride is very serious. So can you walk me through what the first teams were and what they've evolved to?
Yeah, that's great. So in year zero, when it was just eight of us, there were two teams. So that would be Jack's team, the 6 Mile Slammers, and my team, the Big Time Baloney. So I don't know the exact kind of moment that those two teams came to be. Well, like I know it was that weekend, and I remember like my team, Big Time Baloney, again, my ticks, right? Big Time. Big Time was one of them. And I was like, Big Time is awesome. Like, we're going to be Big Time. What are we going to be? And then it was Big Time Baloney. And now our mascot is like a hot dog that hits a bat. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the 6 Mile Slammers, if I remember correctly, they're the 6 Mile Slammers because they slam at 6 miles. So that's their name. And they're great. They have purple and gold. Like, they have a really good color scheme. So those
Yeah.
are the first two teams. And then coming the next year, Michael, again, we're mentioning our friend Michael, he's kind of a recruiter. So he reached out to a bunch of people and he created the Mobster Lobsters, which is another awesome team. Little lobster with a top hat and a cigar. And they were like, they're kind of known as, they're kind of conniving, not in like
Yeah.
a really bad way, but not to say that the 6 Mile Slammers aren't also, but they were the original bad guys
Yeah.
of Johnny Drip Drip, I think. And
Ooh, I love it.
the original, but not to say that the 6 Mile Slammers maybe might be the bad guys right now. I don't know. um, not to throw any shots your way.
No,
But
once you
yeah.
finish, we're gonna get into it.
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
keep going.
And then lastly, the newest team, which started 2 years ago, the Ding and Dillos. So Sam, our friend Sam from Texas, so he was on the 6 Mile Slammers, and then we started to have almost too many people for three teams, and he came up with the Ding and Dillos. I think it's like a Texas theme. It's a little armadillo who plays baseball, and they got a new logo this year. They got some jerseys this year, and like you mentioned, the teams have a very strong identity, and that's like one of the coolest things to me because like
Hmm.
I plan a lot, and we're all planning a lot, but one of the coolest parts of the planning is the planning that happens that I don't know about because you'll show up there and then all of a sudden one day, oh, all the Mobster Lobsters have matching bathing suits and shirts, and like, oh, they're all wearing top hats and cigars, and it's pretty cool the level of camaraderie and what's the word, pageantry that the teams have.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. I love so Ding and Dillos won Best Team Swag this year, I think, right?
Correct. They all came out with new jerseys and they looked pretty clean.
Yeah, so all of these guys, everyone listening here, they have like matching bathing suits. Like, so when they're like actually playing the game, like it's not just like they're in bathing suits. Like this gets taken very seriously. Like I think 6 Mile Slammers is on like their second generation of jerseys. Like they have an
Yes,
outdated
yes.
one.
They have multiple jerseys, multiple suits, and yeah. And the Big Time Baloney is on our second year in a row of getting bathing suits that didn't work because we tried to like go really big and get these awesome bathing suits, but then even a triple X was too small. Like it's just
Oh my gosh.
we're gonna come back with something next year that's even better. But
Okay, so I know there is a little bit of controversy, and I just want to say that just because I'm a 6 Mile Slammer wag does not mean that I blindly support, okay? So I know there's a little drama, and I even heard whispers of Johnny Drip Throat. So
oh yes,
can you
yes.
walk me through some of the like conspiracies and controversy at Rifle Lake?
Yeah, so I think that that's one of the coolest parts of the lore of the game is there's always some kind of shadow controversy. So I think like the first big one was 3 years ago. So Ryan is on the Mobster Lobsters. He's also one of our New York Drippers. Famously, the night before the championship game, he stepped on a nail. And it's actually been later determined to be a screw, but it's still called Nailgate. And so he is a great player, but he stepped on this nail and he had to go get a tetanus shot and go to the urgent care, and so he couldn't play in the championship game. It was the Mobster Lobsters against the Big Time Baloney. And well, we had to find a substitute, and who volunteered right away? None other than Jack Van Houten, the MVP of all time Johnny Drip Drip. So this was a big time baloney. We don't like that championship year as much because it was like the Mobster Lobster is a really great team, and then they just added the best player in the history of Johnny Drip Drip. So then it was always like, who put the nail there? Like Ryan is a really good player, but was somebody trying to replace him with Jack? Like I don't know. I personally, it definitely wasn't me because I would not have done that. So yeah, and then so then the next year that's when the controversy really started taking off. We don't even know who this Johnny Drip Throat is, but we started like getting notes across the commentary table discussing potential controversies led by none other than Patrick Gavitt, the 2024 Johnny Drip Drip MVP, and he went the whole year. He got a hit every single time he went up to bat. I think he was like 18 for 18. And so what we were told anyway from Johnny Drip Throat is that he was dipping his bat and essentially getting water in the bat and making it easier to obtain these hits. Now, this isn't vetted or anything like that, but that's just what that controversy was. So, I can only speak on the notes that the commentary team got via the anonymous Johnny Drip Throat. And I don't know, that's all I know about that one.
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. First of all, as a journalism major that studied Watergate, obsessed with drip throat, genius. Was that Evan or was that you?
That was Wyatt, actually. Well,
Oh,
we don't know. We don't
we
know.
don't know. Or not who
Wyatt
was
was the
drip
one
throat, but
who.
who came up with the name.
Yeah, well, Wyatt's the one who uncovered these notes and started passing these notes from Johnny Drip Throat. So, like, we assume Wyatt has a direct connection to this character, but like, there's no way to confirm it. Like, I don't know. I've never seen him, so it could be Wyatt, or it could be somebody that he knows. That's all I can say.
So you have no idea who was leaving these notes.
Correct. Yeah, we just find them.
And what does Pat have to say that? I mean, that's a serious allegation.
Yeah, Pat, I think he doesn't want to say too much. He doesn't want to get into an engagement with it. I think he's like, if I don't talk about it and I just laugh it off, like, people will be like, oh, he's not that bothered. It's not serious. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it bothered him enough to where he didn't come back this year, so I don't know.
Do you think he didn't come back because of drip throat?
I don't know. And then there was another potential conspiracy, by the way, that he did come back, and he was actually the person we met as Ethan, and they just gave Pat a bunch of steroids and gave him tattoos, and that was how we had this giant jacked firefighter that just came out of nowhere
Yeah.
and took the league by storm this year.
So is that a controversy?
I wouldn't say that's a controversy because Ethan's a great guy. I love that guy. Like, I had not met him before, and he's the 6 Mile Slammers needed players. So I don't think it's a controversy that he played. There was a controversy in a game this year between the 6 Mile Slammers and the Mobster Lobsters, which I will say I think we need better umpires. Like, we need neutral parties to be in the water because, again, not to throw shots, but we had to replay an at-bat of Jack's where he jumped into the water, and we watched the slow-mo footage over and over again, and it sure looked like he reached out and pushed the ball underwater before he could go towards the raft. So we've just made the call to replay that at-bat, and he still got a hit anyway, so, no harm, no foul. But that game was, there was like a lot of chippiness. The 6 Mile Slammers and the Mobster Lobsters, like they get into it sometimes.
They have
Like,
a real rivalry.
they have a real rivalry. Like, there's a lot of rivalries at Drip Drip, but that one is the most contentious, I think.
Yeah. So I don't get any of this. The stories that I get from Jack, very different.
Hmm.
But here at Literally Heinous headquarters, one of our top like pillars is journalistic integrity, getting to the bottom of the truth. Like I'm a journalist by training. So all of this is super helpful to know. So how do you guys determine? So okay, Johnny Drip Drip, you've got your core people. What would you say is like the core people that pretty much come always every year? Or how many is it? And then
Yeah,
it
and
kind
then
of is
they
a little bit of a revolving door.
totally. So I would say there's probably 15 people. I'd have to go back and look at year to year, but
Hmm.
off the top of my head, I would say there's 15 regulars, like at least. And those 15 people are there every year. And
Hmm.
then there's another group of, I'll say, 10 who you would expect to be there most years. And then there's the new people who
Yeah.
have only come the past couple years or just started. But like the thing with Drip Drip is people put it on their calendar and like we try to plan out a date with everybody's input, and for the most part if somebody doesn't have a wedding or
Hmm.
a family trip, like they're gonna be there. So
Yeah.
yeah, like just in the sense of people that have made it every year, it's probably around 15-ish,
Yeah.
but that's what's cool is it feels like everybody at least wants to be a regular.
And so how do you determine like when there's a brand new person, like what team they're going to be on? Like how do you make it so that it's fair?
Yeah. So there isn't really there's not like a super set system. So like for example, my team, the Big Time Baloney, we've every person on our team, like from the first year, has been there, and we added a new player, Andrew, 2 years ago, and he's come the past two. So we have not had to add a player besides that one time. But then, like the 6 Mile Slammers, for example, they have probably had 10 people that have
Hmm.
been a slammer at one point, but then,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, this person can't make it this year. And a lot of times it works out to where they haven't run into a situation where they have too many people for a team in a given year. So, they fill with other people and they kind of
Yeah.
alternate year to year. But there's not really like a super set system. I mean, like teams will
Yeah.
like sign a contract with the player, but it's very under the table type of dealings. And
You mean like
teams have
professional
recruiters.
teams sign contracts, but not JDD.
No, well, I mean, not. I don't know what are on the contracts because again, like the Big Time Baloney, like we've been pretty set. But I know that the 6 Mile Slammers had Tommy, their new player this year, sign some kind of contracts.
I did not
Like
know that.
that's what I was told. I haven't seen the contract. I don't know if he's still under contract next year. I don't know any of these things, but
This
I
is the crazy. Okay, Lit Hane listeners, Haniacs, do you hear how fucking insane this is? Like sometimes I waver between like, oh my God, it's so cool. Then other times I'm like, this is crazy. You guys have people
yeah,
on
me
contract.
too, me too.
Like it's all fun and games, and then I'll like hear something and be like, I'm sorry, what? Was this not just like a boys' weekend that now it's this like anyways, I respect it. I'm gonna have to hear more about this contract from Jack. He's so omitting stuff from me. Okay, so
Interesting.
when you guys have conflict during a game, so I know you don't really have any umpires, and I know you can go back and watch footage. How do you address the conflict, and how, as the leader of this, do you make sure that this conflict doesn't leave a bad taste in people's mouth and you're still having fun?
Yeah, I will say that's one of the things that's the greatest about it is in the games, like during those moments, it is very competitive and it is like a real sport to everybody up there.
Hmm.
But it's never really like permeated beyond the game. I think everybody that's up there understands like yes, like we are in it to win it in terms of like taking home the purple truck trophy, which is our trophy by the way.
Yeah.
But it's just like a weekend about kind of camaraderie in general. So like we're all there for Johnny Drip Drip. And so yeah, so that's like an overarching, but like in the actual games, I try to like if there's ever an issue, which there have been from time to time, like was that a foul ball? Was it a fair ball? Somebody said, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Or did this person get up onto the raft before they were tagged? So luckily we've always had sources of video where you can like it does take it's not like an instant replay in the NFL, let's say, where
Yeah.
you can just like look up on the screen and see it. But, luckily, the games this year that had the controversy, we had people out in the outfield on the paddle boat and they took video. So, everybody walks out to the end of the dock, the paddle boat comes up, we're all sitting there looking at the phones, and then we see, oh yeah, okay, okay. And then, so then I'll go on the mic and I'll say, hey, we've come to an agreement and this is our decision. And typically, I take everybody's input in, but like ultimately, at least the controversy hasn't happened in a game that I've been a part of, so I don't know what would happen because I wouldn't want to seem biased. But
Yeah.
in these cases where it doesn't involve me, I try to come to a happy medium to where we can find like
Yeah.
not further accentuate the problem and try
Hmm.
to just get this thing back on the road.
Yeah. Who was on the paddle boat? Drippers or spectators?
Drippers, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, drippers in the sense of people who are there for Johnny Drip Drip, but they're not playing the game. They're just like in the yeah. Because if
Okay.
you're playing, you're swimming.
Yes. So what, if you have one, is a favorite Johnny Drip Drip story?
Ooh, there are so many good Johnny Drip Drip stories. But I will. Oh, well, here's a great one that came from this year. So there was a catfish. Catfish, typically nocturnal. They don't do much during the daytime, and so I think we noticed this first on Saturday this year. Sorry, Friday night. So Ian was in the water, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, something got me," and then he's like, "Oh, it must have been a fish. Probably not a big deal." When he got out of the water, his foot was bleeding pretty bad, and so we're like, well, that's weird. And I kind of mentioned like catfish kind of have like little sharp, not like a stinger, but like a
Hmm.
barb. And hey, it's nighttime, so it could be that.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, there's a catfish up here this year. Well, then the next 2 days, this catfish, we saw it. It would come up to people, and it was just like a menace. And it
Christ.
multiple people had run-ins with the catfish. It was a story for the whole weekend. Like if you're in the water, you're just like looking around. And we actually got. It'll be in the videos this year, but there's a GoPro shot of it like coming up to somebody, then going underwater with the GoPro and seeing it. And yeah, so it would if you were out on the floating dock, if you were in the water by the land on the dock, like it was everywhere and it was like wreaking havoc the whole weekend. But the best part of the story is so Wyatt is also the fisherman of the group. Sorry to Big Rick if you listen to this because he is who likes to be the fisherman, but Wyatt actually catches a lot more fish than him. Sorry, Rick. Anyway, but Wyatt, yeah, so Wyatt said, I'm going to catch this catfish because we see it. And he literally casts out there and he catches the catfish in like 5 minutes. And so we all went out on the dock, not every single person, but a lot of people. And it was like, people were just like looking at the catfish like, hey, do you know like what you've caused, how much harm you've caused this weekend? And they really gave it a talking to. You know, of course we released it back into the water, but hopefully it got the weight of what it had done to us, and we tried to like give it a stern talking to and be like, do not bother us again, and we just put him back, and we'll see if he's there next year, but
Oh my
I hope
God.
not because he was no good.
So he didn't bother you again?
Well, that was like Saturday night, so nobody really went in the water after that because we left
Oh
on
my
Sunday.
God.
So he very well might just be like extra mad now because so maybe next time we'll have to be eating catfish next year. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I wanted to like give him a chance to try to amend, but I don't know if he will.
No, I love that so much. And that just speaks to the like altruistic person that you are.
Thank you.
So, as someone that also plans events, not to this level, but I always feel like when I'm in the middle of doing something that I've been like working so hard on and like either like hosting parties or comedy shows or other things that I've done, if it's something that I've been working really hard on and it's finally here, I feel like it goes by in like 2 seconds and I'm so like unaware of what's going on. I feel like I can't live in the moment. How are you feeling while Johnny Drip Drip is happening?
So I can't lie, there's like a lot of stuff going on for me, but I don't get pulled down by it. And like every year, I find ways to be more efficient. So if I do something, then next year I can like have a document saying this is what I did, or like for example, the patches. So we vote for those awards, and every year people wrote down on a piece of paper who they voted for, and then I would have 25 pieces of paper with 10 different things on it, and it
Yeah.
would take me like 2 hours on Sunday morning to like go through it all. So this past year I added a form, so now you just go on your phone and you fill it out, and it saved me so much time. So I guess there's been times it's overwhelming, but it's definitely never overwhelming like on the scale of the weekend.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a moment where it's like, wow, I'm really busy with this stuff, but I don't know. I find a way to separate and enjoy it. And like, I don't mind, like, people are playing a drinking game or something. I don't mind, like, okay, I'm gonna go inside and spend 10 minutes doing this thing now so that I can go out and enjoy the rest of the night. And like, I think that planning is somewhat a learned skill, and some people are planners and some people aren't. But
Hmm.
like if you're a planner, I think you can just like from repetition and from kind of like pulling other people into your process, you can make it less of a burden on yourself. And that's what Drip Drip has become at least. Like there's so many people helping out and I've done it so many times. Like I copy my 2024 folder and make a 2025 folder and there's like
Yeah.
so many documents in there. But like now it's like okay, like I know what this is and it won't take me that long to do it again this year.
Yeah. So while Drip Drip is happening, what is your favorite part?
So I think my favorite part of it is probably just like the connection like with all the guys up there. It's like just really great because everybody that's involved, like we're talking about it all year. It's like the moment you know you're going to see the most of your friends all at once. And so like when you're up there, it's just like the time that you get to really connect and catch up with your friends and like know more about their lives. Like yes, like we're up there to play a game, but it's also just kind of like to kind of unplug from the rest of the world and like be with each other and like have that camaraderie and it's I don't know, it's just like everybody always asks like what was the best part of the weekend. It's just like it's the whole weekend. Like I don't it's hard to
Yeah.
quantify any other way.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I mean, connection at the end of the day is everything. Like that's what everyone wants. That's what everyone craves. And it's so amazing that you're able to put this thing together and do this awesome thing for all of these guys. And I think like as men, it's just extra impressive to me that you are able to plan all of this and you guys work so hard and everyone has a role and everyone works really hard. So what advice do you have for men that want to maintain connections with their friends or even make new friends? Like
Yeah,
you seem so good at it and you have so many friends and you plan all these things, but what about someone that's maybe not as good or not as good as a planner as you?
totally. Well, I think like that's like a really good way to like move into that is like as men because like I think just generally men have trouble connecting with new people, but even more so sometimes have trouble connecting with like their close friends. Like you play video games or you know hang out and you watch something together, but you're not at least I found like most of my friends who are men, you're not always just like connecting on a deep level or like learning all that much about them. And like growing up, to me, the best conversations, the closest I was with people was like on the bus to a football game or in the locker room. And so it was always like being associated with some sort of competition for some reason, and that probably speaks to like being a man in society, right? But
Yeah.
it was when people seemed to be their most authentic and just kind of able to open up. So I guess not to say that everybody can be like, "Oh, we're going to plan some sport we play every year." But I think the bring coming together and like there is some sort of competition or some sort of event that you're doing. I think that really helps like guys just mesh and hang out
Yeah.
because that's the thing with Johnny Drip Drip is there's a lot of people like probably I don't know, 60% of the people we went to high school with is like one group, but you know, there's close to 30 people. So 60%, you know, almost half of them weren't people we knew before. So, you know, like Jack's roommate Wes or Nathan's roommate Mike or my roommate Wyatt or you know, people that
Yeah.
came from different places, but then when you're at Drip Drip, like everybody just kind of understands like we're here for this game and that's fun, but we're just gonna hang out. We're gonna have 20 people sitting around the campfire just telling stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that for sure. Like and the fact that it happens every year. So that might be something for guys, right? Is like you're looking forward to this thing. Who knows what it is? It could just be like a skiing trip or that you do annually or something, right? But like the fact that you're thinking about it and you're talking about it with these people at you know like 6 months before it even happens because you know it's going to happen this year and the next year. I think that really helps people kind of connect at that level like hey we're going to be here like let's plan a funny prank we can do on our friends
Hmm.
or you know something as innocuous as that but to me and like you mentioned that's kind of what can bring men out of their shell sometimes.
Yeah. So you are a leader, obviously. So how do you, I mean, you're an obvious leader in this situation, and I think with friend groups, there's always going to be a leader in the sense of the person that is making the most effort. If there's a high functioning group of friends, there's always one or two people who's making the most effort to bring people together. And I'm like that too. Like I'm definitely the person who wants to bring people together to do the communication. How do you toe the line between like being a friend and being fun, but not like scaring people off with how much work it is or how much like of an investment it is? Like, how do you make it fun for people and keep the excitement throughout the year?
Yeah, that's a really good one. And I think again, it kind of just speaks to the nature of Johnny Drip Drip as like an event because there's so many different things going on and it takes a village to make it work, but people kind of gravitate towards the thing that they like. So like Jack, like he does the social media and that takes a ton of work and he's planning that, but he loves planning that, right? And like
Mhm.
Nathan loves to grill, he loves to cook, and so he's making food the whole weekend and busy with it. But at the end of the day, that's something he enjoys, right? And Wyatt is so creative, and he makes these super cool trading cards. Evan, he loves just having an open mic and just talking to people, and basically that's
Yeah.
what he gets to do at Johnny Drip Drip. So, like to answer the question, I guess what makes it work and what makes it not feel so overbearing is that people don't feel pressured to do something if they don't want to. Like there's a lot of small tasks throughout the weekend, like, hey, can you record the stats for this game, or can you run to the
Hmm.
store and get firewood? You know, like small stuff like that. Where that if you're just any person who's up there, you might get asked to do stuff like that. I'm not gonna just be like to somebody who's the first year, hey, I need you to edit videos for us, you know. So
Yeah,
it's
for
it's
sure.
like it's like, hey, who would be interested in doing this? And here are different things we might need help with, you know. So who wants to help out with this thing? And more
Mhm.
often than not, people just are interested in it because
Yeah.
they like what it's become.
And I have found, like, when I've led events or when I was president of my improv team, like, people love to help. Like, that is what a lot of people don't realize is like, people love a task. Like, people just want to feel like it's inclusion,
Yes.
first of all. Like, it's including people. You're making them feel needed. Everyone wants to feel needed. Everyone wants to feel wanted. And it's providing them a sense of accomplishment, and you're tying them to something that's important to you. I discovered that with my improv team when I was putting on like our improv music or comedy festival that was like 2 days. And
Yes.
presidents in years past had all done it all by themselves. President and VP was their thing. And then my year, I just like delegated and you create committees. And when you like empower people to do things, like they're going to want to do it because they feel like it's theirs. And it just pays off like tenfold. Like even with my comedy shows, I didn't have a ton for people to do, but I would make up little jobs for my friends and it was helpful to me and it just makes the event feel so much more cohesive and
Yeah,
collaborative.
yeah. Yeah, you basically, yeah, you just explained like what I was thinking in my head, like even better than I could have said it. Like that's exactly right. Like the collaboration and then people wanting to make it their own, and people do love a task. Like as much as you
Yeah.
might hear, oh, like I'm not gonna do this thing, as soon as it's like, hey, who wants to help with this? It's like, oh yeah, I don't mind. Like
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here, why not?
Yeah, it's even like when you go over to someone's house and they're setting up for a party or if they're like doing something and you offer to help and they say no and you're like, seriously? Like please let me help. Like it just
Yeah.
feels good like when you're watching people that you care about do something that's hard, like you have this need to help them and you have to let them help you and just find something for them to do. I love that so much. You're such a great leader and like I so what my what okay, I hate this question. I hate when people ask me like what's your goal with podcasting or what's your goal with comedy? I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. And it's totally fine if you don't have one, but what is something you would love to see happen? What's a long-term goal? Would you
Yeah,
want to like
yeah.
quit your job and find a way to make this your full-time job somehow?
So, okay, I definitely, again, like my mind, since literally between year zero and year one, I've been just brainstorming all these things about it, right?
Hmm.
And to the point where almost every time somebody has a great idea, which I love that people have great ideas, but almost every time somebody has an idea, I'd spend like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so, like I mentioned earlier, like it's very lofty, right? But to have like a stadium and
Hmm.
to like stream this out to people live, right? And it's not going to become the NFL, but it might become a thing that a bunch of people watch online, right? And
Yeah.
other people want to come play, and then I could, lead a league where we're always going to play Johnny Church Drip as a group, but hey, maybe it could become a league where other people train to play in too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I I love planning stuff. Like I love planning like Olympic Games. A couple of my friends have like had me do their bachelor party and make Olympic Games for the whole day, right? And I love doing that. So I love planning parties. So like in a way, it's just like becoming a like an elaborate party planner. Like even this past year when I mentioned that somebody got off their boat and they came over and chatted with us, it was actually
Yeah.
this lady who came up to me and I was flying the drone, of course, and she was like, "Hey, like, could we hire you guys to like have a party for us?" And I was like, "That would be so awesome, but I'm flying a drone right now. But that would be awesome. Like, do you want my
Yeah.
information?" And she's like, "Oh, I'll come back like later when it's not as busy." And of course, she didn't come
Yeah.
back on the boat. But yeah, like I would so love this like as a more of an outlet for like my creativity, just to like plan events for people. And at the end of the day, I really like everything running smoothly, and I think I've just done these sort of things so many times to where I have like timelines down, right? And I have yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to like just be like I'm going to quit my job and do this, but well,
Yeah.
and the other thing is like I also have a business that with my dad, like where it's like okay, that could become more of a job, right? So maybe instead of having my one professional job, I like spread around like all these different things, and yeah. So I don't know
Yeah.
if that's, but for a more immediate goal though, I definitely just want to keep creating more content. And like so this past year we had, like I mentioned, the one reel that got a lot of views. Well, that was probably the best footage we had last year, and this year we have 100 times that much footage. So like
Yeah.
I just want to, at least in the more short term, right, create more and more cool content, more longer form like YouTube videos for all of our games. And I know obviously Jack is very on board with that. And
Yeah.
and I guess another one is just like have a website maybe, like not
Yeah.
just for like fans and people we don't know, but also just for like us because there are so many like I've recorded stats for this for 5 years, and we have video from 4 years, and we have
Yeah.
photos every year and trading cards and renders, right? And if we could just have all this stuff up on a website, I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. And an umpire.
And an umpire, and actually that is one of the things on my list is to have some sort of like maybe it's a swimming cap, I don't know what, but somebody's job is they put it on and they're the umpire. So like you can't just have everybody screaming that's a fair ball, that's a fair ball. It's like no, you look at that one person and
Yeah.
they're gonna say what it is. So yes, that's
Yeah.
definitely
Jack and I were actually talking about having my brother come up and do it.
ooh,
I think that would be, I'm campaigning my brother. He's a senior in college right now. He's like total baseball fanatic, just like Jack's brother. Like huge baseball, everything, like played baseball in high school and he umpired, like that was his main job, like
okay,
in
okay.
middle school and high school.
Does he also have a little experience on commentary, like on the mic as well, or was I imagining that?
No, you were not imagining that.
Okay, okay.
Yes, he could do like commentary. He's going to school for it. He's at
Okay, that's what I
Syracuse
thought.
Newhouse.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
which is
yes.
where like all the famous commentators went. So he does that at Syracuse. He did that in high school. When during COVID, because he was in high school during COVID, which is crazy, the basketball, varsity basketball team, they started streaming the games so parents could watch. And my
Okay.
brother did color commentary for the basketball team and did such a good job that someone's parents knew Jim Nance. And Jim Nance sent him like a letter and a little basket, like saying how
Oh,
good he was.
that's incredible. Okay, so I think like, I mean, you can tell him he has the invite. Like he,
Yes.
like for both of those reasons, umpiring we need, more commentary we probably need. So like, hey, he is more than welcome.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get him to come. I think he really would. I'm worried about like he's a little bougier than me, so I don't know.
Okay.
But I think he would totally do it. It would be so much fun.
Well, here's the thing that's weird. Like for me, like if I go to so my wife Juliet, she has a cottage on the other side of the state in Manistee, and I very routine. My like hair routine, my skin routine, like it takes a lot of time. And when we go to her family cottage, like I have to shower every morning. I have to do all this stuff. But somehow at Johnny Drip Drip, like it's the only time I don't shower in a day, and I just don't shower for 4 days. I don't know how it works like that, but it's almost
Yeah.
like the lake is rejuvenating waters, and it's all you really
Yeah.
need.
There's magic in it.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well, I think I'm almost out of questions, but is there anything that you want the Haniacs to know about? Is there anything I didn't ask
Hmm.
you about?
I would say the only thing that I want to also start pushing this year. So I love making sponsorship. Like it's more of an in-house sponsorship at the moment. So it'll be like, oh, this person is bringing all the firewood this year, so they're sponsoring the wood, and so I'll make a cool poster for that. Or like Lit Haynes sponsored us, well, you sponsor us every year, so we have a poster for Lily and her podcast. So, but I think like now that we're starting to get some traction, I think that we can probably like reach out to some companies. Like I was thinking, like wiffle ball, right? Like
Hmm.
Smirnoff Ices, like I don't know, just stuff that
Yeah.
is like Johnny Drip Drip staples, and I think we could probably get some products or something. Like we could get some real sponsorships. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that's like a call out there. Hey, if you're out there and you want to sponsor Johnny Drip Drip, send us a DM. But also, that's something that I have a couple guys, Michael being one of. Michael is a salesman, as you know.
Yeah. He was
So,
talking about that last night, actually, about the sponsorships.
oh, okay, awesome. Because I have a list. I have a long list of good options for sponsorships, and I just like I need somebody to help lead that, and he's the guy who I think is going to help lead that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're listening and you're a small business owner or you know someone that owns a business, please consider sponsoring Johnny Drip Drip. Even if like a lousy little $500, just like skim off like the slush fund, you know? Like,
Oh
really
yeah,
doesn't have to be that much.
exactly. And I mean honestly, like that's the thing that's if you sponsor us, all it means is like something from the weekend is from you, but it also means we get to say during ad reads and in between innings, like Evan can say, "Thank you so much to insert sponsorship here for the I don't know the new underwater bases because we're trying to replace our little green chairs that we use, stuff like that."
So, are the green chairs the half bases?
So underneath the half bases, so the half bases are in water that's probably 8 foot deep, maybe
Okay.
7. But so we have little green lawn chairs in the water underneath because the half bases float on top. And
Hmm.
the purpose of those chairs is so that you don't have to be treading water the entire time. You can like stand on the chair. And while you're at the half base, or like a defender could be standing on that chair, so they're like level with the water, but they're
Yeah.
not treading
Okay.
water the whole
Okay.
time. Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. Got it. Got it. Okay. That all makes sense. Okay, I'm so excited for Drip Drip 2026, I think, right? And yeah, I think that's all. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
I think that's pretty much it. This was like a really I could talk about Johnny Drip Drip for my whole life. I mean I will,
Yeah.
but I think that you really covered all the bases. Those were really good questions, and I like that you helped me kind of explain it broadly, like
Mhm.
in simpler terms, but also get into the finer details of it because while
Yeah.
it is like simple, there is so much stuff going on.
No, I love it. And I'm a party planner too. Like I've always loved planning events and planning parties and lo the logistics and it is so much fun and it's fun to like peripherally be a part of you guys kind of.
Yes.
But yeah, so follow Drip Drip Baseball on Instagram if you're not already following them. Comment and share, watch their YouTube videos. Jack works very hard on them. And yes, consider sponsoring, please.
Great. Thank you
Okay,
so
well,
much,
thanks for
Lily. I
coming,
really
Carmine.
appreciate it.
Bye.
Yes. Thanks for having me.